My question's for John MacArthur. Kind of want to ask if you think my theology or belief is true or not, biblical, whatever. When I first became a Christian, about the first, 5 or 6 years, I started to learn. I didn't even know that I thought John the Baptist and Gospel of John were the same guy. So I had to learn, from my pastor and asking questions and things like that. But then I started to, believe that, read certain things that said, wow, you shouldn't do this, and they would say the same things over and over again. I'm like, well, I got to stop doing this, and things like that. And I would, hear about daily disciplines of reading the Bible in the morning or whatever and starting your day with the Lord, things like that, and turning from sin and so forth. So that wasn't my focus. And then I met some people on the way that said, well, that's old covenant theology, or you're legalistic and things like that. And so the past 7 years or so, second half of being a Christian, I get scared that, man, am I a Pharisee, or am I, one guy told me at one time, he was like, well, you're happy when you, or something like that, you feel good about yourself when you do the right, what you think God wants you to do, but when you don't, you're down, and that's somewhat true. So is that the right way to grow as a Christian, and how do you know if you're not trying to earn God's blessing or something like that?
Well, first of all, I don't know who you're running into, but cancel all these people out. Okay. You need to be listening to the right people telling you the right thing. And as babes desire the pure milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. If you have tasted that the Lord is good, if you've seen the kindness of the Lord in your salvation, if you've seen what the power of the truth did to save you, then you understand what the power of the truth will do to sanctify you. And you will, if you're truly regenerated and converted, you are going to desire the things that the new nature longs for. You're going to have holy aspirations. Now, it is irresponsible and wrong to tell you that to pursue obedience to the Word of God is some kind of legalism. That smacks of classic antinomianism, the idea that, where sin abounded, grace much more abounds, so more sin means more grace. And you forget the God forbid part. So you grow by the Word of God. Man does not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. John 17:17, sanctify them by thy truth. Thy word is truth. You're in a process now of being sanctified. You are being conformed to the image of God. You have new impulses, new longings, new desires. We say this, that when you know you're a Christian, not by the perfection of your life, but by the direction of your life. And all of a sudden, you're moving toward the things that your heart wants. You have a new set of values, a new set of motives, new set of desires. You have an appetite for the truth. You have a hunger to honor Christ. You don't want to displease Him. Those are all the impulses of the new man. And one dominating characteristic of that new man in 1 John is if you say you're Christ, then you walk the way He walked. And Jesus was no legalist, but He kept the law of God perfectly. And He's the model. That's not legalism. Legalism says, I'm capable of earning my salvation by what I do. I don't think you believe that. So you understand that salvation's by grace, and the drives and impulses of that new life shouldn't be restrained. They should be exploited to the max. So you want to take every opportunity you have to expose yourself to the Word of God, understand the Word of God, and implement it in every facet of life.
So that's the other part of my question. When a Christian, when I do things that I know are wrong, and I sin or rebel, if I do that, does it mess up my, like Hank Hanegraaff says, it messes up your communion with God, I think? Is that, because that's what I thought, it messes up my closeness, that's the way I put it in there.
Well, sure, it's not going to change your salvation, because salvation is for the purpose of saving you from your sin, and that's eternal. But But that's why John said, these things I write unto you that your joy may be full. He's writing to believers and telling them how to have full joy. Full joy comes from obedience. Jesus said, happy is the man who hears my word and does it. So if you don't do it, you're going to forfeit that joy. You're going to feel the striking of your conscience, which will accuse you. You may even lose your assurance of salvation. That's part of it. So obedience brings you the fullness of joy that comes in the fullness of that relationship, and disobedience takes that joy away. That's why David says, restore to me not my salvation, but the joy of my salvation.